Hello, everyone, and welcome to LDM Radio Sports Talk, the sports show that talks about current events and other relatable sports topics that have to do with sports fans. My name is Alfonso Caldero, and my co-host today is Wesley Segundo,
a.k.a. Wepa Man.
And we are here with two super fans from the New York Mets, Pin Man.
How you doing, guys?
And Cowbell Man.
What's going on, guys?
So we're the biggest Mets super fans, bigger than Kevin James, I promise you.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. This is when you go to Citi Field, or if you've been to the old Shea Stadium, and you definitely recognize one of these two gentlemen, if not both of them. Anytime that there's any kind of fan media stuff going on, it's going to be one of these two gentlemen on my right. So we're going to do things a little differently today. We're not going to do the update right away because we want to make sure that we get the interview, the whole entire interview done. And this is our first hour show, so we don't know how much time we actually have. So we're just going to go through the interview with these lovely gentlemen.
And start this show off with a bang, with, again, two of the most super Met fans there is. I mean, how better could you have it? You got Cowbell and Pin Man. How better could you get?
If there's anything I love is super fans. And no matter what team it is, every team has a super fans, and some of them have different stories with them. And we're going to find out what these two gentlemen's stories are today. So we're going to start off with, where are you guys from originally?
I was born in Ozone Park, and most of my life I lived in Howard Beach in Queens.
Okay.
I was born in the Bronx all my life.
Oh, wow.
And I know it's kind of a question, but yes, I've been in Bronx all my life.
Which part of the Bronx?
Right on Southern Boulevard.
Oh, right on Southern Boulevard, which now brings me to my question is, like, since you're a Mets fan, born and raised in the Bronx, still living in the Bronx, how on earth did you become a Mets fan over becoming a Yankees fan since you're, like, in Yankee territory?
Okay, basically, my dad used to take me and he also took me to Shea Stadium.
Oh, wow.
Now, the thing was that my dad always sat down and taught me about National League Baseball. He taught me about the Dodgers and the Giants. He taught me about the rivalry. He taught me about when they left New York. And he told me that when the Metropolitans were born, they were using the distinction of the blue of the Dodgers and the Giants of the orange. And that's why they called themselves the Metropolitans, and that's why they became the Mets. And they were associated to the National League. And he was teaching me the whole National League giving, how it, the National League was. So when I used to go to Yankee games, and there were times I just couldn't cheer for them. But when I go to Met games, and I had that in my mind that they were a National League team. So knowing that that was the thing that was going on, and they would become the new National League team, and I started to go more Met games, that's how I became a Met fan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us your story, Pin Man.
I guess I could thank my dad or blame him. I'm going to thank him, though.
Blame him? Oh, wow.
Well, only because I'm obsessed with it, the Mets. I love the Mets, and I love what I do. But in 1968, my dad took me to my first game, and we sat in the press box. The Mets played the Giants, and they beat them 1-0. And right away, I loved it. Shea Stadium, just beautiful stadium. And then as time went on, my dad had worked in the Big Bow Wow. It's a big restaurant in Howard Beach. And he kept getting tickets from the bread company, the beer company, and we sat behind home plate all the time.
Wow.
So I got spoiled early. Now I walk around, I don't even sit in a seat, but at least I have experienced it all my life. So
We got a walking relic over here.
Yeah, exactly.
you got to do that walking. Keeps you going.
Totally. So, how long have you been going to Mets games regularly? So, like, you guys started off in the '60s and started learning how to be a Mets fan. That's actually interesting, Cowbell Man, because he actually got both perspectives, and then he ended up picking the Mets. So that's like deeper than
he didn't go
than anything else. Yeah. Like
he
didn't
go
know
the
any
traditional route.
Yeah, because I'm a Jets fan, and like I like the Jets over the Giants. But like when I started learning about the Jets, I didn't really know about the Giants. I didn't know there was like a greater option out there. It's like for Cowbell to actually go through and like really dedicate himself to the Mets at that point is really, really cool.
Yeah. I started going there. I started going to my games in 1963 in the Polo Grounds with my dad. I was only 7 years old, and that was the last year of the Polo Grounds, and I got to experience that. I was young, and you see all the great players, Willie Mays, all the great players. So I found out that that was the last year of the Polo Grounds before Shea Stadium was built. So it was like an honor to find out that I was able to go there to the Polo Grounds. And it was kind of sad to see it go, but I knew that a new era was going to come by Shea Stadium being built in '64. So as I grew, I started realizing now that baseball in New York was going to be more traditional with National League Baseball in New York, because since the Giants and Dodgers left, they figured no team was going to try to replace that. That's why when I said that they made the orange and blue for the Mets, and I started to get used to going there and realized the Mets were, the new National League team. That's why I fell in love with them.
Oh, wow.
How about you, Pimmy?
I just went blank. What's the question? How did I?
Like, how did you start going to games regularly?
Yeah.
Like,
I
when
got
did you
you.
get in
What
the swing of
attracted you
things?
to going to
when-
games?
You're a season ticket holder, so like, how was that whole process of getting to that point?
Well, you mean when I first started? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, when you started going regularly.
From the beginning.
Well, in the beginning, my dad used to take me to a lot of the games, and then my grandparents used to live. My father's parents used to live on 108th Street, so I used to take my bike, ride it
Wow.
all the way down, and we used to walk to the game. My grandmother, my grandfather, the games that my dad couldn't take me to because he was working a lot. My grandma, I would go with my grandparents, and then as I got to be 18, with all my friends, I started going to games. I went regularly. And at that time, like 76, 77, the Mets weren't that good. So we could leave a half hour before the game and get there, and tickets were cheap, and, no lines, no nothing.
Right.
So we went to a lot of games that way. And then I got my season tickets, 1983, I think, is when I first got my partial plan. And since 83, I've had either partial or full plan. Like from 2006, I got my full season tickets.
Wow, that's amazing.
Awesome.
And this year I didn't get to use them, but I still got them for next year.
Hey,
Well,
something
you
is something.
Exactly.
So, because you guys have your respective nicknames and Pinman, we would like to know, how did the Pinman moniker start?
How did it start?
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you. In 2006, I went to the Aqueduct Flea Market, and they had this pin set, like 25 pins, New York Times pin set. And I fell in love with it. It had David Wright in it, Jose Reyes, Shea Stadium pin, a Met emblem. It was really nice. So I bought, about 10 sets in the beginning. And I started putting some pins on my jersey. And then when all of a sudden my friend kept calling my name, Nick. And I didn't hear him. He goes, "Yo, Pin Man." And right away, he just hit me. Like, I'm going to be Pin Man. So I started putting the pins on the jersey. And I wound up going back, making a deal with the guy over there. I bought hundreds of sets. And I gave out pins to the kids.
Doing it for the kids, huh?
To the
Yeah.
kids. And, some big kids who asked me to. And, but I had a good time. I gave out 6,000 pins, to the kids. And then the rest, I started, wearing them. And now I weeded them out. And I don't have any of those pins on anymore. I got all different new pins,
Well, hey,
Some
that's
from years ago, and most of them contemporary.
awesome. How about you, Cowbell? Where did the Cowbell man
Could we
started?
break out the cowbell before we
Yeah, break
before we
that
get into
out.
this?
Give us a little hit.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Let's go, Mets!
Let's go, Mets!
Let's go, Mets! Let's go, Mets!
Oh, yeah.
All right.
But
I've heard that a few times before.
wait, you guys know each other?
Hell yeah.
It's a strange story of how I got the Cowbell game started. It all started one time where, back in the day in the Bronx, I used to play with some friends. We used to play little intros, some Latin people. We would always go in the corner street. We play little Latin music.
Empezando la rumba, huh?
La rumba, yeah, that's it. So one day, for some crazy reason, I decided to bring the Cowbell to Shea Stadium. And I guess that's my leisure time. I wanted to do a little practice. So I guess as the game went on, I'm practicing a little before the game, laps, little things like that. So the weird thing is that the game got started, watched the game, But as I was watching the game, I was practicing with the cowbell itself. So the strange thing that happened was every time on the diamond vision, they would play the rendition of Let's Go Mets or whatever they played on the diamond vision. I started doing it with the cowbell. So it's funny that when I started doing things with the cowbell, people started to applaud with it.
Wow.
And I didn't really get a catch to it yet because I thought they were doing it among the, diamond vision. But as I kept doing it, I noticed that they was playing me, they were going along with my tune. So as I kept doing it, I started catching on. So as the game went on, I kept doing it. And for some reason, I came back to another game with the cowbell, and I kept doing the same thing, and I kept doing it. And you said, hey, you should keep reading the cowbell. And I didn't think about doing it because, like I said, I didn't want it to be a distraction to anybody else at the stadium. But I decided, hey, what the heck, let me try it. So I would bring the cowbell to the games, and as more and more people got into it, it gave me an idea. I said, well, let me bring it in and enjoy the game with the fans. But the problem with that at the time was that sometimes in certain sections, if I would do too much, like certain people didn't like the noise for too long. They got annoyed with it. But then I stopped for a while, but then I said, let me try to walk around and see if I get the attention of everybody else. But as I started walking around, security gave me such a hard time.
Wow.
A hard time because at the Pasada, I didn't have no identity. I was just a fan that was walking around with a cowbell, and I didn't have an identity. So everybody was just like, who's this crazy
He's like
guy?
a John Doe.
John Doe, right, exactly. So basically, they were telling me to stop, or they were escorting me out to the ballpark. So I stopped, but then I got, when I went home, I started thinking. I said, there's got to be a way. Some of the fans liked it. I had to find out a way to do it. So the next idea that came to my mind was, let me make a jersey. So I decided to make my first Cowbell Man jersey.
Wow.
So once I brought that in, and I started doing it more, the identity started coming out. It became more apparent to the fans that I was a guy that was trying to bring fun to the ballpark. And that's what the whole persona was, to bring fun to the ballpark. So when I started doing it, I guess more people were more related to me to bringing it for to have fun, to enjoy the game. So as time went, I started walking around a little bit, but again, they were giving me a hard time. But I never gave up. I never gave up. You never give up on your dream. Even though it wasn't a dream, but it came true now.
Just a man
All these
with a
years
cowbell
now,
and
who
a
would have
dream.
thought me doing what I'm doing now would come out the way it has? But no, I never gave up. I know people enjoyed it, so I just kept on doing it, kept on doing it, kept on doing it. And as years go, everybody started to recognize me. And little did I know, I thought it would be a distraction to the organization, to the players, because there were some times where security told me I couldn't hang out in certain sections because some fans complained to them that I was being annoying to them. And they were
Oh, that happened back then too. I mean, that sounds like something that would happen right now. That you get a text.
no,
from
but
someone.
but
Yeah, you get a random text. Hey, this guy is being loud.
But you know what it is? It's like, okay, like I know the Yankee fans in the bleachers, with the bleacher creatures. I know they have a cowbell man out there. And the thing is with that, you're doing the same thing, you're enjoying the game. I mean, you're getting your group into the game. I mean, if you can't go out to enjoy a game, that way, it's noise. That's what it tells you. The stadium persona is to make noise, to cheer for your team. And that's what it was about. And if you can't understand that and enjoy yourself that way, you shouldn't be in the stadium.
Yeah, this is not a church.
Right.
Exactly.
This is not the library. This is not the morgue. Go home and hit the mute button on your TV then.
And get off your phones.
That's
Pay
it.
attention to the game.
Exactly. So that's
Absolutely.
what happened. So as years went on, that's how I caught on.
All right, I'm sorry, I got to cut this off for a second. We have to go to a commercial break. It's going to be our first annual commercial break. We will be back shortly, and we'll continue on with this lovely conversation.
Stay in your seats.
All right, LDM Radio Sports Talk. Good. We're back again with Pin Man and Cowbell Man.
Did you miss us? Did you miss them?
First commercial break. We didn't even get anything to drink.
They missed
Not
us.
really that long at
Yeah,
all.
I didn't even think of it.
I mean, we had a Snickers. That was about it. but
Yeah, right.
Leslie,
So this is like, so two super fans, right? Usually when there's like two super fans, there's either best friendship or there's like an inner rivalry. But we see that you guys are like the closest of friends.
Best buddy.
How did you guys link up together and become close?
I remember I've known him all the years, through all the games, always seen him. And I was a little shy to go up to him, but I don't know if you remember, but the Mets played the Yankees, that game that they won in the bottom of the ninth inning. And
Oh,
I
come
came
on, you
up
gotta
to you
remind me of
in
that.
left field all the way up, and I gave you a Mike Piazza pin. Do you remember that? I think
Yes.
that's the first time I talked to you.
We spoke, yeah.
And you still got the pin, by the way?
Oh, I got it. Long time. It was there. But
I know.
It's rusty, but it's there.
That's been a while. It's like 15 years ago. But we just hit it off. Every time we seen each other, we waved to each other, in the beginning. And now all of a sudden we go around. The fans love us now. When we go up and down the upstairs, we go up the upper deck and we go together. Everybody got their camera out and they're loving it. They're taking pictures
I mean,
of us.
I love it now. I'm
Yeah,
like sitting here with
baby.
you guys. I'm like beaming right now.
Get your camera out.
It's so
I
cool.
mean, I mean, look at this. What do you got? You got two of the biggest Yankee fans, and me and Alfonso,
Yeah, you
and
guys
two of the
are right
biggest
up
Mets
there.
fans sitting next to each
I
other.
am not
enjoying-
choking nobody.
Right. I'm not going over here saying 26 rings in a pocket watch, but
So you guys were already fighting good, and then you just joined forces to. Yeah, it's an amazing
that's-
story. I love
We
it.
became the dynamic duo.
Exactly. We're
Basically.
partners in crime.
I love it. So all right, so walk us through a day in the life of what you guys go through on game day. So like just any particular game, just go through how you're received by the
I'll
fans.
tell you-
What you do. Yeah.
My usual routine, usually I'm working to 2 o'clock and I make my way to Citi Field. I'm usually in the parking lot, not under Northern Boulevard, about 2:30, and I have my sandwich, I take a little nap.
what type of sandwich?
I worked in the deli, so usually it's a turkey sandwich. It's a healthy sandwich,
Oh, okay.
but and a little salad or something with it. And then I take a little nap, because you get up early and it's a long day. Then when I finally wake up, I start working on my jersey. And that takes a little while, make sure the pins are all on. Good, and some batteries got to be changed sometimes. And then I make my way into the parking lot or into McFadden's, start getting around with the fans and, getting psyched for the game. And then, I get in the game pretty early, batting practice sometimes. And I just keep walking around, talk to the fans, take pictures with them, and just, ready to go. Get the fans start, get a little "Let's Go Mets" chant here and there, and try to save my voice for when we really need it. And with the Mets, you need a lot of "Let's Go Mets." You need a lot of chants, a lot of
Unless you have a bell.
Unless you got
Yeah.
a bell. See, his voice, he never has to worry about his voice.
How about you, Cowbell? What's your routine like, and what's the?
Unlike Nicky, my routine was different because I was working, and my hours were till about 6:30 at night. So all the things that Nicky would do, get there early, and everything else, I couldn't do that because I was at work. So my routine would be getting up at 6:30 in the morning, going to work till about almost 6:30, getting out of work, rushing to the ballpark, get to do the game, go home late, go to bed late, get up for 6 in the morning, and I was doing that for over 42 years.
Wow.
And the thing is now that I just retired from my job for 42 years. So
Congratulations,
Hey.
man.
yes, I just retired from NYU Langone,
Wow.
and I didn't know how it felt like being free now of doing games. And then look at the thing that happened now. Now that I'm free, look what we got
There's
going
no
on now.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the thing was that I missed out on all that. It would bother me, but what can I do? I mean, couldn't change my schedule. It was difficult, very difficult. But like I said, I would wake up early, guys, get up 6 o'clock, and I go home on time. But it's my devotion, my heart. I just kept doing it, kept doing it. And I got used to it. It was fun. I mean, even though it was tiring,
No, it was tough.
Some-
You made the weekends. You had no work. You
Yeah,
had,
the
I had to
weekends,
work
yeah.
on the weekends, and
Yeah.
I had a race over there. I had no time to.
Sometimes after the games, me and Nikki hang outside. The fans talk to us, take pictures with us.
Yep.
So I get home later than that because the fans won't, they want pictures and everything. So it's been, it's great. It's a great thing. So now,
Just like the players, you got to
Yeah.
stay afterward. You
Yeah, you gotta stay
appease the
afterward,
fans.
exactly.
These
yeah.
guys, these guys are a Mets staple. I mean, how could you go wrong? How could you not want to take a picture with these guys? I mean, every time when I go to a Yankees Mets games, Subway Series, I see these two guys. I'm like, you know what? I gotta take a picture with these guys.
Yeah.
Works.
So, what is the greatest story that you guys have shared together?
Ta-da.
So, the greatest game or situation that you guys were like together was Awesome
At a
time.
Met game.
yeah.
Like the greatest Met moment that you guys were able to share together in the same
Oh,
building.
that's a toughie. That's a, can you think of one?
I can think of a few.
All right. You started while I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, just in 2015, the recent one in 2015 was the latest one that we enjoyed together. Because we were in that run, we were at a place called the Pine Restaurant. We were watching the playoffs there, and all the home games, we were spending it together. We had a big crowd. It was exciting. It was electric. It's like, when
forget
you
that
guys
one.
in the World Series, the atmosphere was fantastic. So we went there for the clincher, and everybody just partied, and it was party. So the thing was that we were at the Pine when we swept the Cubs in Chicago, and the funny thing was that right after the win, right on Main Street, they had a Modell's.
Oh, yeah.
So we dashed out of there real quick, and we were right to Modell's. My lady was there, Alice and everybody were there, so we just left everybody there. We told we'd be right back. We took so long that they got worried about, but it was so packed. But that run, all those runs that we did together were great. That was the recent one. Before that, we were together, but not like the way we were at that time.
But I got another good Modell. We started when Art Modell had me and you, and I think Sal, the sign guy.
We're doing the show called Chasing News on Channel 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did
okay.
that show. They
It's on
invited,
at, every night at 11 o'clock, right?
right.
Yeah.
We did the show, and they invited us to come down. It was me, Nikki, and Sal, the sign man. And we happened to go to Modell's in Times Square. They invited us to come down, and we were waiting there. And who do we see? We see Mitch Modell. And I was like, wow, I was because, he's the founder of Modell's. So he greeted us. He was welcoming us to have a good time. That's when Darryl Strawberry came in, Howard Johnson came in, and Jesse Orozco came in that day.
Yep.
They were doing autograph signings.
Wow.
Nice.
So we went in there, we waited, and we were in the back waiting, and we were talking to them, and they were great guys, such
Yeah,
great
they were
guys.
All of them they were.
So they did the autograph signings, they got everything taken care of. So the first part was afterwards. When the whole show was over, Miss Modell gave us all an envelope, all three of us, $1,000 gift certificate to Shopping Modell's.
Wow, that is cool.
That's very nice, right?
And we went off. Me and Nikki, it was like Christmas in October.
It was
Yeah.
great.
That was the
Awesome.
best Christmas gift I can remember.
That was pretty
And we
good.
went shopping, but it was great.
Now, unfortunately, they're out of business.
Yeah, now he's out of business.
Maybe he should only give us 500.
And the other thing is,
He wiped himself out.
and not to cut it short, but we did another one. We did the Queens Rally. We did a rally in
Oh,
Queens.
there you go.
They invited us to a Queens rally. They did a pep rally. And we went there. Me and Nikki were there. We had a great time. And they even mentioned my name to come up, but I came up in front of the mic in front of everybody. The Queens borough president, we were all there. And I started banging the cowbell in front of everybody. And that was a great honor, too. We had a great time. 2015 at that time was fantastic, only to lose the World Series.
That was great for
Hey,
me.
now
was a
City
bad
Field Security could leave you alone.
Yeah, I know. But that was a great time we had together. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, we
That's
had more
awesome.
better times.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good times. At first, I couldn't think of them.
I mean, you know what's the best fan moment that me and Alfonso had together in the Yankees game?
What's that?
Thinking that we were going to see A-Rod's 3,000th hit, knowing, and then he gets walked, and then this guy, a day later, he sees it. And I'm not
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost missed it because there's a guy over here you can't see, but almost missed it. Had to see it from behind the home plate. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Luck is.
Well, the moment I didn't like about
Sometimes.
the fact the game that I didn't like it. You guys are gonna laugh about it, but when Francisco Rodriguez the pitch to A-Rod when he popped up and Castillo dropped the ball,
Oh yeah.
that's the game that I hate the most.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's on my top.
Yeah, that
that's
was
one of my
awesome.
top
list.
lists. Yeah, and then definitely 2000 you beat us.
It was cheap,
The
but it was
World
awesome.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get.
So let's get back to the security. So like, do you guys have trouble getting into security like in Citi Field, or has it changed over the years?
Citi Field, I don't have any problems. But when I go on a road trip,
Right.
I go to Baltimore. They told me to take the jersey off. I just went to another entrance.
Right.
Pittsburgh, I had problems getting into, and Yankee Stadium too. Last time I went to Yankee Stadium, they wanted to know how many batteries you had in there. Then they had to call. They kept me waiting outside with my friend Nora. I was like, "Am I gonna go into this game?" But I got in. But it's funny now. You can laugh, but when it happens, it's a little aggravating.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it happened in the Cyclones game too. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It was a Nets game I went to.
Nets.
Basketball game.
Right.
And they gave me a hard time.
Crazy.
Because they didn't know who I am, I guess. But what are you going to do?
Well, they're gonna find out.
They
eventually.
find out
Hey,
eventually.
they're gonna learn some way
There's only
somehow.
one guy who does it. I mean,
You
nobody
gonna
does it
learn
better.
today.
That's it. That's
Security's gonna learn today.
How about you, Cowbell? You have any issues with it?
Oh well, you guys know this well because before with the issue with the 7 line, they used to come in with their little joint the sticks. The sticks they used to come there and cheer at Yankee Stadium when they had the left field area. We were able to come in at that time, but I guess it got to a point where I guess it was reported so much or whatever. Now they're the thunder sticks. So now it's like now most of the stadiums that we go to, you can't bring noisemakers there. So they stopped all that now. So on the road trips, like Yankee Stadium, at least what I could do is I could bring the cowbell outside, and then I put it in the parking lot. I check the bag in there, and then after the game I get it. That's the thing I can do now. But in most other stadiums you can't because they said that it entices the fans. They say that it entices the fans. It creates problems, creates fights. No, but the fan
to be
base,
lame.
the fan base I cannot stand is Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the worst
Sorry,
fan
Philly.
base. Yes, it's the worst fan base.
Yeah.
And guess what? Philadelphia doesn't even make the greatest cheesesteaks, to be honest.
Oh!
Yup, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Or the best chicken sandwiches either. Nobody makes a better chicken sandwich than Wesley. There's gonna be a whole show. There's gonna be a whole show dedicated to that at one point.
Food show. The Wesley Food Network.
All right. So we'll lead into the other topic. How are you received at other ballparks? So we know Philly's next. We're just all right. We're done with Philly. Is there any other ballparks that you've been to where you've had like positive feedback, negative feedback? What stories do you have for that?
Every game I go to, I have never had a problem. All the fans come up to me, and even Yankee Stadium, I take hundreds of pictures. Now, Yankee fans come to Citi Field, they take my picture.
That's it.
They're all friendly, you know what I'm saying? Everybody seems to know from social media or whatever. They have an idea who I am. And to them, I guess it's a privilege more or less to them to say hi with me. So I never had any problem, nowhere, even on the road.
No shaka there.
How about you, Cowbell?
Pittsburgh was a nice stadium. We went to Pittsburgh. We went to Baltimore. I went to LA. I went to a lot of stadiums, and they perceived us pretty good. They'll boo us and say Mets suck or whatever team they cheer, their home team, they'll cheer for them.
What did they know?
But like I said, the stadium that I hate the most was Philadelphia. I mean, that was the worst. Washington, we had a couple of incidents there, but not as bad as Philly. So we go there with the 7 line every time we played Washington because they got a group called DC Mets over there. They got
Oh my
DC
God.
Mets. So we go over there, we meet up with them, and we hang out. And I don't bring the cowbell to DC, but there's a guy who runs that group who gets his own cowbell. He brings it in for me to do it inside.
You get
Oh,
it.
you
You
get
get
an
it
import
imported.
cowbell. It's
Yes.
Like, hey, you can't
Because
touch this.
You can't touch it. You get to this. You can do it here, but yeah. We have a good time there. But
love
like I
it.
said,
you got a remote one over there.
no. But I'm happy to say Yankee Stadium is a good, comfortable place. We know we go at each other, but it's friendly. We go there. I have a good time, and I live right nearby, only 10 minutes away, so I'm good. So that's why I like Yankee Stadium.
I did have one little problem in Washington. my brother took me for my 50th birthday, and we got the seats right behind home plate with all the food and the air conditioning and everything. And of course, I went in my Mets stuff, and the Mets scored like 3 runs in the first inning. And this lady goes, "You can't root for your team over here in these seats." I said, "Oh, now watch." I was calm and cool, but I let her have it at the end of the game. But it was nothing major. But
So when was this? Was this like before or after the text messaging where they just like get the security over there?
no, they didn't. She didn't call the security or nothing.
Oh, thankfully, yeah.
Thank
'Cause, I mean,
God.
now it's just a text message away. Like, this guy's being too loud.
Oh yeah,
We
like
sent a text message.
yeah,
That's-
like
that's
we
all it
got this
takes.
guy with shiny pins and a cowbell
Yeah.
calling cows over here. Can you like? And meanwhile, they're on like their telephone and stuff. Stop it! These guys are just rooting for their team. They have the
That's it.
same right as you.
Yeah.
We're harmless. We just want to have fun.
Yeah. Some people
Seriously.
don't understand. So we're actually going to go to another commercial break. We have 2 commercial breaks. This time we're actually going to get something to drink because it's super hot in here. All right.
That
miss
works.
us.
So we'll be back soon. LDM Radio Sports Talk.
You can't touch this.
Hey everybody, I'm Lil D.
I am Javier Luis.
I'm Alex Polanco.
I'm Apollonia Cruz.
And I'm Kelly Cooper.
I am Shirley Phillips.
I am Emmanuel Anzule.
Do you know 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence
During their lifetime,
And domestic violence and abuse can happen to anyone.
regardless of gender, race, or other factors?
2 out of 3 homicide cases are
females who were killed by a family member or intimate partner.
As domestic violence victims, they face high rates of depression,
Sleep disturbances,
Anxiety.
flashbacks and other emotional distresses.
And without help, witnesses of domestic violence are more vulnerable to become abusers themselves.
thus continuing the cycle of violence in the next generation.
Hello, I'm Charles Aloma. Join the LDM network and Safe Horizon and take a step into changing these facts. So if you are or know someone that is being abused, please call the City Domestic Hotline at 1-800-621-4673. So that is 1-800-621-HOPE.
speak up.
Speak out.
And make a difference.
And just know that you don't have to deal with this alone. There is help.
Deals with Pinman and Cowbell Man and Wesley Segundo co-hosting.
Yeah. So, Pinman,
Yes,
I
sir.
got a question to ask you. So, because as Cowbell Man pointed it out, that what the Mets represent, Dodgers blue, orange, Giants, right?
Right.
So, what did your family root for? Like, what did your dad root for? Did he root for the Brooklyn Dodgers or the Giants?
My dad was a real diehard, and my mom too. They were very big Brooklyn Dodger fans.
So they hated the Yankees.
They hated the Yankees. So that's why I guess he's another National League fan, as Eddie said too. When you're like the Dodgers, you're not going to go to the American League. You're not going to become a Yankee fan. You always hated them. I know my dad, when, well, that was the Giants, though, but he actually broke his pinky when Thompson hit his home run when I beat the Dodgers, when Branca.
Okay.
Branca.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I always remember my dad telling me that, but he was a diehard Brooklyn Dodger fan.
So no hatred of the Yankees passed down to you?
Well, I'm definitely not a not a follower. I mean, years ago when in the 90s, I didn't root for them, but I was happy they won for my brother, for some friends and everything. But after they won one time and everybody got cocky, so you know what? I can't root for them. I wasn't rooting for them, but enough's enough. It's time that we do our rooting and got to go my own way. Enough's enough.
Oh, protest over there, huh?
But I'd say in 2015, I was not actively rooting for the Mets, but like knowing you guys, I definitely wanted them to do well. Like at least if they did win, you guys would be happy. So that was cool.
That's the same.
So I understand. It's pretty much the same
idea,
thing. Yeah.
Except,
when you care about people, you care about people. You want them to be happy.
Yeah,
There's always some
but
kind
by
of.
the same token, there were some people I didn't want them to win for either.
Yeah.
There's always some loudmouth, and we have Met fans like that too.
Yeah. Some Yankee fans are assholes. What are you gonna do? You know.
And there's
the New Yorkers.
There ain't many Met fans that are assholes.
I mean, there's some. I mean, I can confess that I'm a bit of an a-hole Yankee fan. I wear my Timbs loud and proud. Yankee cap loud and proud.
Hey,
My
that's
chopped
what
cheese
it's all
sandwich
about.
loud and proud.
And he's in his bleachers loud and proud. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Oh, he's a bleacher creature.
Yeah.
So do you guys? How many times have you been on TV and the newspapers? Like, do you know? Like, do you have any kind of ballpark idea? Is it just too many to count?
I'm just going to say a round number on TV, probably 50 times, maybe better.
Wow.
Woo!
And I've been in the newspaper about 15, 20 times.
Nice.
Wow.
I've done shows on SNY. I did one with Freddie the Pan Man, God rest his soul. I did a show with him on Mets Weekly. We did one of the shows when we did the Subway Series. We did a show together, and we did a lot of shows there. We did marriages, things like that. So I've been on TV at least 400, 500 times.
Nice.
Wow.
A lot. And on newspapers, lots of times. And every time we go there, all the news people, people come to us and they want interviews with us. They want pictures with us, everything with us. So we get on. I mean, we just run our business. We still get
interviewed
on.
a lot of times, too.
I don't blame them, for sure.
Yeah. But we love the people. We love the fans. That's why we're out there. We're out there to enjoy a game along with the fans and share our love with the fans.
And sometimes we try to ease the other team's, our fans' pain, even though sometimes it hurts us, too. It's like, it's hard for us to make everybody happy if we just lost the game that we blew in the ninth or something. But we always try to put on a happy face.
Hey, you guys are great guys personally. I personally know you guys, and the way that I knew you guys is that I just randomly ran into you guys in the middle of the 2015 New York Rangers playoffs when everybody was watching the game outside.
There you go.
That's right. That's one thing we all got here in common.
Yes,
we're all Ranger fans.
Yeah. Let's go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
Rangers.
So. All right, so tell us about speaking of fans, tell us about the 7 line, because on TV they look pretty awesome to be with. So what's your take on them, and what's your experience with them?
Every time that the 7 line has a game, when I go down there, the fans are just great. They're so emotional. They're so loud. Every pitch they're into the game. Sometimes. I got to ask one of them what happened, because, sometimes I miss it, but they all know what's going on. But it's just hanging out with them, it's a privilege, they're so well known, they're so, they're a little rowdy, which is nice. It keeps the fans, get
Privilege hanging with them. Having an interview with you guys is a privilege.
There you
Absolutely.
go. Thanks.
Okay.
But, last year Brody was down with the fans, too. He was sitting down there.
Yeah, so that's pretty
And he's a real nice, really nice guy. But
That's
that
Mets
one
general manager
trade
for
he made,
everybody.
I don't know about, getting Diaz and Cano, but...
I mean, I see, at first they were, I kind of look into the Twitter aspect of things, and I spy on fan bases a bit. I'm not going to lie.
Uh-huh.
But I do see a lot of the 7 line. They were crapping on the GM, and then when he comes in, they just switch it around. So what's up with that?
Yeah, you tell him. What's up with that?
Well, to my knowledge, the thing is that a lot of people, and I've been always heard this perception of the 7 line when I met them. When I first met them, and I got to grow with them and whatever, it's not that I'm saying anything bad. It's just that the impression they were giving me that some of them were acting like they didn't know who we were anymore. Like we were nothing to them.
Wow.
To some of them. But that was the impression I was getting. But the thing after that, as I got to know them, a lot of them were very nice. A lot of them. And I didn't, it kind of bothered me because, like I said, I'm not a guy that whatever I am, I change. I'm the same person. I could know you today, and I'll treat you like I've known you 20 years already. It doesn't change anything.
That right there is respect.
Yeah, but some people think that whatever they are now, if they are something, and they get a lot of recognition, whatever, some people, they take it to another level. They treat you like you're nobody. But that was the impression I had of them. But I got to know them, and a lot of them are nice. A lot of them are great. A lot of them are great. And I knew people there in that group before the 7 line, before they even became the 7 line. So a lot of those people in the group now, but like you said about with Brody, when he came down that day, and yes, I did notice that myself, where a lot of people started, they were all over him and this and that and this and that, but I knew the real fans who were around him. But then after that, it was like, I could imagine, what they say behind his back, what they say after that. But I fought the 7 line. I get along with them. Like I said, there's a lot of people that just come on the 7 line, get a shirt, and then they just want to say they're on the 7 line. That's the thing that I've seen. And I've talking to Darren about certain things because certain people that are not really in the 7 line group, they act up, and it makes the whole group look bad. But you see, me and Nikki, we're about going around. We're about everybody. We're not just about a group. We go around to be around everybody. The 7 line, the Met fans, everybody.
Even the Yankee fans too.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah. You guys come on the show.
It's the way it should be.
It should be. But the times that, some people, they become something and it's like, oh, now I'm this big shot, I'm this and this and that. That's not right. But I can't tell people how to act. That's their perception of themselves. I can't change that.
Yeah.
But I've never had a problem with the 7 line as far as I'm concerned. And if there's any problem, I talk to Darren, the leader, or I talk to his dad. And I talk to some of the higher members of that group. So I tell them.
Wow.
No matter what, if you have anybody, even if they all follow the same team and we're supposed to be all rooting for the same thing, you can't get a bunch of New Yorkers to do anything coordinated. That's just the way it is. There's
really
always going to be
can't.
some assholes. There's always going to be some
It's like,
good people, bad people. It's just the way it is.
I know Dro knows this who's sitting over here. It's like you tell a couple of your friends we having an all-white affair, wear all-white clothing. They'll come in with like black pants and like mix and match, looking like a McDonald's menu.
Yeah, it's always going to be that way. That's New
Look
York.
at right now. We have a mix and match. We got 2 Yankees, 2 Mets. Mix and match, 2 for 7.
There you go.
Actually, LDM. Sorry.
Put that on the menu.
There you go.
No fries, no drink.
So speaking of Brody, the general manager, it takes me to my next question. So you guys have sloppy seconds off of the Yankees. There's 5 current Mets that are former Yankees. So how do you feel when the Mets acquire somebody from either the Yankees, they used to be a Yankee, or they were used to be on the rival teams like Phillies, Braves? How do you feel about that, having to root for these people? Do you feel disappointed? Do you feel indifferent? Do you not care?
At first, you say, no, I don't want this guy. But as the season starts or whatever, you embrace him. He's one of your players, one of your team. You want him to do good. So some things, some people boo and everything. I never boo my team.
Absolutely.
There's no need for it because it doesn't do anything good. But somebody else is booing.
Oh, man, they're booing him.
Well, I feel the same way. But the thing is that if a player that comes to your team, a Yankee, and you embrace him, okay, like Nicky said, you may not like him because he was a Yankee, whatever the case is. But the most important thing, if he can help your team,
That's right.
as a positive matter, you have to embrace it. I mean, you can't change the situation, But the fact of the matter was, one person I was glad they never got, and he wanted to come to the, they talked about him coming to the Mets, and that's A-Rod in the very beginning.
I knew that was coming.
A-Rod.
You want to know something? So, and Alfonso can confirm this to you. I was never big on A-Rod.
Really?
The reason was because they traded my favorite player at the time for A-Rod, and that was Alfonso Soriano.
I was disappointed.
That's your name.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, he did save the Yankees in 2001 of Game 7 of the World Series against the Diamondbacks.
I think he would have been MVP of that series.
And I felt like with A-Rod, we could have won 6 to 8 World Series, but that didn't happen. So,
Nope.
yeah.
Well,
You guys should have had
You
A-Rod.
got one anyway, but
the thing I didn't like about it is his demeanor. The demeanor that he had you can see the kind of person he is. He may help you, but his ego. I really felt that he had that ego. He was an egomaniac.
So that brings me to my question to both of you. Is how would you feel if he and J-Lo bought the Mets?
you're in trouble.
Oh! Let's get loud.
No.
Let's get loud.
No. I'm glad they didn't buy it, and I'm glad they're not in the running. Please don't. Please
Wrong
don't. But, you know, the fact of the matter is that if you're going to buy a team, you have to have knowledge. You have to make men's buying this team to make this team better. Look at the great teams, the Yankees, Boston, these teams that are always up there. They got great management because they tradition. You know, and I've always said this. One thing I love about the Yankee organization, they have a theory. They want to win. Their theory is always want to win. And if you don't win the World Series, your season don't mean nothing. It's a downfall. And that's a good attitude to take because it's like, hey, we want to strive to get better every year. If we don't do it this year, we'll get better the next year. That's the strike we got to take. And the owners we have, it's like they're too conservative or they're too cheap. And the thing that really bothered me was that you're sitting here where you have the other the Yankees themselves, they're making strides to win. And we're telling you, look at the Yankees are doing. And they're like, well, we're not the Yankees. We don't do the things the way the Yankees do it. So if you don't like what we do, you know, you could just like leave. We're going to do things the way we want to do it. And that's the attitude I take from that is that, you know, do you really want to win? But the fact of the matter is, even with all the GMs we had, hey, so you had good GMs, but their hands were tied. And that's why we couldn't spend the money we really wanted to spend. Or if we did spend, it didn't work out because they didn't allow us to spend money.
Oh, wow.
It's definitely been a shame to see what a lot of, any hatred bias aside, like the way that the management has been not helping the Mets, like, you know, acting like a small market team when you're in the actual same exact market as the New York Yankees. You know, it was really tough to see, especially like for you guys who had to, you know, go through and endure that.
And all this time, I thought we were a small market team.
They were making us look like. So
if you guys are a small market team, I mean, how come the Pat LaFrida sandwiches are like $18? Like, goddamn, come on,
they're
man.
good though.
Because they're good.
They're good.
The time I had it was okay. I make better filet mignon sandwiches.
You probably do. No, you don't.
All right. So let's. What is your greatest? We go back to positive now. What is your greatest memory as a Mets fan?
It's got to be Game 6. I was there.
Game 6
of the World Series when the Mets beat the Red Sox.
Okay.
And went on to Buckner.
1986.
1986.
I wasn't born for that.
I was 2.
Oh, so I have to refresh you. I'm sure you heard of it by now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you hate the Red Sox. So I'm sure you're happy that the Mets did beat them that year.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
They came from, nowhere. They had a great team, won 108 games, and they were one strike away many times to being, eliminated. And they came back to win it. And then Game 7 was 2 days later, and it was academic. They were down by 3 runs, and I had more fun that night, Saturday night, jumping up and down. And my parents were there, too, my mom and my dad. They were up in the upper deck. I was with my friend Mike, and it was just a great time. It was just fantastic.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's the Mets.
Well, all my years being a Met fan, the 2 World Series that we were there, those were great moments in my life. I thought we were to get the 3rd one in 2000, but that didn't happen. And I even thought in 2015 was going to get close, and we didn't get that. But they were great years because, like I said, nobody expected them to get as far as they did, and they got there. And it was underachieving, and the way we came back was the best thing about it. We got there, it was exciting, and it looked like we were going to be there. When we lost to St. Louis, that was the year we should have won it. No doubt about it. That was the year we should have won it.
That was a killer.
That was the killer. So all the great times that we got there, that was a great time.
I mean, you guys did have a powerhouse team, man. Like, I would, knowing that Willie Randolph at the time was a former Yankee, also a former Yankee first baseman coach, I would, check in, see how guys were
Sloppy
doing.
seconds.
Not only that, my favorite player at the time, Carlos Beltran, the reason why he didn't go to the Yankees and went to the Mets is because Brett Gardner was coming up, and the Yankees was still holding on to Bernie Williams, so he ends up with you guys, and he took you out far.
He took us far, yeah.
He was good.
But that curveball by Adam Wainwright, yikes.
But all fairness,
I always gave the...
but in all fairness with that, it was a tough pitch to hit. It's easy for us fans to sit back in our seats and look at that and say, hey, we could have done differently. No. It was tough. It was a tough pitch, but he made a good pitch.
He made a great pitch.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the checks and balances for Eddie Chavez going and grabbing the second
God.
away that homer. That was pretty epic.
When he made that catch, I thought right there was ready for us to win. I did feel we were going to win it.
That was pretty
Yeah,
I
epic.
thought that was good at A. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but then we had bases loaded, nobody out that next inning, and we didn't score.
Yeah.
So then,
No.
if I'm figuring we're going to win, then I'm saying to myself, I don't think we're going to win now.
He wasn't ready. he wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
So for Met fans who never met you guys and they want to meet you guys, because like I said, you guys are the staple of the Mets fan base. So where would you guys be when it comes to pregame, like together, where fans could meet you before the game?
Yeah, where's the central station to meet you fine gentlemen?
Well, guess in the rotunda, on the first level, or Jackie Robinson. In the beginning, you hang out in the front a little bit.
I say by the bridge.
Or by the
Or
bridge.
by the Shea Bridge.
Yeah,
A
as
lot of
the
times we
game
go by the
goes
Shea
on, we
Bridge,
always
we'll be there. A lot of times we go say hello to everybody. We stand there. We socialize with fans. We take pictures with fans. So
You
basically,
could hear
there.
his bell, so
You just hear the bell. That's it.
Right.
Ding, 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 and you know where I'm
the
at.
night game, you'll see me flashing, so
Yeah.
I'll be blinking.
So all right, so the Shea Bridge. If you've never met any of these two fine gentlemen, go to the Shea Bridge during the game, and you'll definitely run into them. So what have the Mets ever has a Mets player ever contacted you or recognized you for your efforts? Like, has there any been any maybe waving by the players or any kind of meetings with them when they talk to you? Like, do you have any stories about that?
When I went to Baltimore, I think it was 2010. The Mets, they killed the Orioles. Who doesn't kill the Orioles? You know that.
That's true.
But after the game, I was walking to my hotel room, and this lady, Jeannie, comes up to me. She goes, "Somebody wants to meet you." And it was Pedro Feliciano. So I hung out with him.
Wow.
Did I say Pedro? Was it Pedro? That's his
Pedro
first name, right?
Feliciano.
Nice.
Pedro Feliciano.
So I hung
Felici
out
Dollars.
with him till 4 o'clock in the morning. Watched all the big cockroaches walking around on the floor. But I had a good time. It was really, really, he was a real nice guy.
Awesome.
That was one time.
A few of the players that I got to be were very nice guys. Like you said, Pedro Feliciano, Ramon Castro, the catcher we used to have. He was a nice guy. A lot of great players. We hung out. We would talk and sit down, talk about a lot of things. My other favorite player that I enjoyed being around was Cliff Floyd. Cliff Floyd.
Oh yeah, we met him.
I love Cliff
I
Floyd.
remember
He was
Cliff
a
Floyd.
he's a very down to earth guy, man. And every time, I used to imitate his last catch when we clinched the Eastern Division. I was doing his imitation of him because I do that very well. And I told Cliff, I watch you, man. I just imitate your catch. So I imitated the catch, and he fell in love with it. And one day he was playing with the Cubs. He got traded to the Cubs, and they came to town, and they were staying at the Hyatt in 42nd Street. So I knew they were staying. So I know his music. I know his background. He likes certain songs. He likes the Stanford and Son, the theme song. So one day I went to Best Buy. I had bought a couple of cassettes, and it's the stuff he bought. So I went there, and I asked for him. I didn't know if I would be able to see him. So I said, "You were coming?" I bought it in the bus. I saw him. I called him out. I said, "Cliff." He saw me. He looked at me surprisingly. So he came over. I gave him a hug. I said, "I got something for you." So I gave him the thing. He didn't have a chance to see it. But when he got in the bus, he went like this to me. So he saw me in the ballpark. He said, "Yo, thank you, man. That's cool, man."
Nice.
Real nice.
So cool.
I met Paul Duca, another nice guy.
He's not a very nice guy on Twitter.
Maybe
No,
not.
that's true.
Yeah, but one guy I met that he's not really good, and that's Wally Backman. He's a guy that he's got a very,
Terry Collins, we met him a couple
we met
times.
Terry Collins, some of the players.
Jeff McNeil, we met.
Jeff McNeil, we met
Jeff
last year.
McNeil seems like a cool guy to have a
Todd
beer with.
Frazier
for sure.
hung out
Come
with
from
us last year.
California. He's
We hung out with a
really
couple of
nice guy, but he came to
Nice.
the Pine Bar. And one night he came there, and everybody was all over him. We never saw him. And I think he might have came in one more time with other people, but he didn't
No,
come by
he
himself.
wanted to watch the college football game.
Oh, that's what it was,
He was
yeah.
watching the game, and he was trying to concentrate, and people were just bothering him. So he wasn't being nasty. He decided to get up and move.
But
He went
he's
to
a
the
very
other
nice guy.
But he's a very nice guy. He is. It used to be, where my son works now, he used to stay there in Jersey.
Awesome.
So my son, you got to know my son, so and it was great. But,
Hey, you know my dad, the Cowbell man? Do you know him? That must have been a great story.
he used to help. He was a concierge. and he used to help him with his stuff, him and his family. Yeah, he told him.
Nice.
And every time I used to go before the game, I should see Ty. He used to tell me about my son.
Nice.
So that was it.
Okay, so we have about 2 minutes to spare. So
Shea Stadium.
Quick question. So you guys are super fans. We all know with all this pandemic stuff going on, nobody can go in the building. How are you guys handling up? Are you guys watching the games together? You guys contacting each other? Like, what's the ordeal?
Well, we watched opening day together.
Oh, nice.
We had at the Pine outside. We had a nice gathering. A lot of good friends.
We did
Good to see everybody. That's what we missed the most about not being able to go to the games, is missing our friends.
Right.
We got so many friends. We made so many friends being who we are, and then we don't get to see them. Besides on social media, it hurts. Today coming here, I waited by Citi Field because I was early, and it hit me. It's like, I'm not going to be here this year. First time really that I was there. It stinks.
Yeah, usually we bring our group, the 424s, but we didn't get a chance to meet. Miss you guys, really.
Love you guys.
Yes.
Are there any? Do you want to give a shout out to any other super
shout-outs?
fans? Any Super Met fans out there that are not here today? I know Sign Guy, you mentioned him.
Sal, how you been?
All right.
Sign Guy.
I don't want anybody being jealous. It's just that we know these two lovely gentlemen.
Patchman.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know everybody, Fedora Man,
Joe.
Patch Man, and maybe our group that we always hang out on Saturdays, the 424s.
Yay.
Everybody in the 424, we love you. 515 group
We miss you.
and 7 line, we see everybody there. And my lovely wife and everybody who's in the group, we all miss them.
Yes.
Met Avengers over here.
I love it.
You're going to
So,
Met chant?
so real quick, Shea Stadium. Do you miss it? Like, how do you like? Do you think would you like Citi Field more, or what are the differences there? Or at
My
least,
thing about Shea Stadium to me, there was a catchphrase. They used to say it was a dump, but it's our dump. That was the best place we loved. That's where the only place we knew. So it was hard to see it come down. I was there when the demolition happened. It was kind of hard. It was heartbreaking. But the fact that was where Met Baseball was, a lot of memories there. And the fact of the matter now that we got Citi Field, the only thing I don't like about Citi Field now compared to Shea Stadium had the walkways on each side in between the seating, where I was able to walk in between. They don't have that at Citi Field no more. I have to walk in the back of it now.
Make a spectacle.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's different. It's different.
how about
And
you?
you can't see me as much as you did at Shea Stadium because it's not right in the level in between. So
Damn, that's no bueno.
no, just no bueno.
How about you, Pimman, real quick?
I really miss Shea. Shea was my second home. I knew every crack and crevice in that place. The last game that it was there, I was the last one to leave. I got stuck in a thunderstorm. Some of the workers that worked there gave me some dirt from the stadium, from the infield and the mound. They gave me their jackets. I really miss Shea. But it was hard to watch anything on TV for almost 2 years. I always, break up a little bit. But now I love Citi Field. Citi Field, modern, beautiful. Rain delays, we don't get cramped and everything.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for stopping by. Cowbell Man and Pinman.
Thanks for
and
having
Wesley.
us.
Thank you so much.
Co-host Wesley Segundo. My name is Alfonso
Thanks,
Calderos.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
LDM Radio Sports Talk. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Let's
All right,
go,
guys.
Mets!
Woo!